Hello and welcome to the Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Samuel. Here with me today, of course, is co-founder of the Gaggle, Peter Lavelle, and it is Christmas Eve, which means Merry Christmas to all gagglers, Merry Christmas to everybody who is going to be watching this. Um, and now, Peter, you're in Moscow. Of course, it's not Christmas for you yet, but nonetheless,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Well, here's a
for much
caveat,
of the
everyone.
world,
It's
it is Christmas.
complicated. Yes, very okay. And, first of all, Russia is a Orthodox Christian country, and they stick to the Georgian calendar, not the Julian.
No, the other way.
The other way around. I knew I'd get it wrong.
The
Okay,
Julian calendar, the
right. Okay.
Gregorian calendar was the one
Okay,
that.
so because George isn't George, you talked because you had a very excellent tweet about all of this. I saw yesterday. Go ahead.
Thank you. No, the thing was that there was somebody was celebrating that somehow Ukraine is
Some Eurocrat, right?
exactly Ukraine. Oh, they've now joined. The West. They're celebrating Christmas on December the 25th. That's it. This is some great celebration. And then somebody said, yeah, yeah, because it was the Bolsheviks. They changed the date of Christmas. They moved it to, you know,
Not that everyone, the
January the 7th.
Bolsheviks changed Christmas. Oh my God. It's just,
It's like,
if you had been an undergraduate in my class, fail, you have to take the course over again. Go ahead.
yes, that's right. So I thought, well, that was very strange because, the Bolsheviks, they closed down the churches, they blew up churches, they persecuted the Orthodox priests, and they forbade the celebration of Christmas. They prohibited the celebration of Christmas. So the idea that the Bolsheviks were very concerned with, I wonder what date we're going to celebrate Christmas. I was just so ridiculous. But the point was that this person who was just rejoicing had no understanding of what had actually happened. The Bolsheviks had switched over to the Gregorian calendar from the Julian calendar, but the Orthodox Church didn't follow suit. The Orthodox Church continued with the Julian calendar, and that's the reason for the discrepancy of the dates. Had nothing to do with the Bolsheviks. I mean, the idea that somehow, whoa, we're socking it to Lenin. This is absolutely nothing. Lenin hated the
And
church.
as a result of that, in the end of the Soviet Union, we ended up with a situation here where everybody calls it this, new Christmas, old Christmas, and the same, the same nitwit that wrote about it on Twitter got New Year's wrong too.
Yep,
Okay, all
yep.
right, and so because of the Bolsheviks got on the Western calendar, as it were, the Russian tradition is all of its New Year's and after. In the Western calendar, it's all Christmas up to New Year. So what we do is a compromise, and some people certainly take advantage of it. New Christmas, old Christmas, New Year's, old New Year's. Okay, you get a double here. Look, everybody. First of all, Christmas is not the 25th is not a big deal here. I mean, most people they know it because of Western Netflix and series and stuff like that. And it hasn't people haven't absorbed it. Okay, the Orthodox Christmas that'll happen. I don't know what day it is this year, but in the new year, people do take that very seriously. So we think in the West, last minute Christmas shopping and stuff like that. Well, I was out with my lady, and we were doing shopping. You don't have that same kind of vibe. You will
Yeah.
a little over a week. Okay, so, but I'm really glad that you had commented on that tweet because it's just so maddening when you come
Right,
across
right,
nitwits that
right.
make, they talk like they're authoritative.
Yes,
Oh, they don't. They talk nonsense.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. So, oh, great. Ukraine has joined the West. This is fantastic. And so that's nothing to do with anything. Oh, and we're sucking it to Lenin. It's all Lenin who changed it. Lenin changed the date on which Christmas is celebrated. I mean, it was just such a ludicrous
Well, yeah,
notion.
and the same nitwit that wrote that didn't make any mention whatsoever the terrible assaults that the Orthodox Church has been experiencing
Right.
for almost 4 years now in Ukraine. I mean, it is very Bolshevik what the Ukrainians are doing to the
Yeah,
Orthodox Church in Ukraine.
right.
And expropriation, the stealing, putting the members of the clergy on trial in prison,
Yeah,
beatings,
right.
and then you have congregations protecting their church. They get roughed up too. I mean, yeah, they're tearing a page from the Bolsheviks there,
Yeah.
and it's really quite odious. And George and I will talk about it later in the next few days, or certainly maybe on Friday, about the Ukraine's peace plan. And there's no mention of the persecution of the
Yeah,
church. Okay, so
that's right.
anyway, so what is your Christmas message? What are we going to talk about, George? What's the
The
um,
Christmas, the Christmas,
how we're going
we,
to get nestled up near the fireplace to hear what?
we're going to hear
Okay.
about a Christmas present, I think, for the world. Namely,
Okay.
the Trump administration has slapped sanctions on various horrible European totalitarians, Europeans who want to control speech and want to essentially persecute and deplatform anyone who doesn't agree with the dogmas of the European leaders. So yesterday, the administration announced that a number of people will be sanctioned. The sanctions are quite mild so far, unfortunately, just simply visa bans. They can't enter the United States. But the most famous of the individuals who are now sanctioned by the administration is Thierry Breton, who is the former EU commissioner dealing with internet stuff, information, and the rest. And of course, it was Breton who, and we've done a number of podcasts about Breton, but and we can talk a look at again, but he was the one who famously threatened Germany and said, "Look, what we did to Romania, we can do to you." So we can take a look at that. When he actually warned Germany, if you go down this path of voting for the Alternative for Deutschland, see what we did to Romania. So
Yeah.
Breton is a natural tyrant.
Recipient. This is a real stocking stuffer for him.
Exactly. And so, but then, a number of other people were sanctioned who are the purveyors of the whole disinformation industry. They're always sniffing out disinformation, hate speech, and and what goes together with that? Well, deplatforming, and it is to be hoped, prison. And then that's something that's now increasingly resorted to
Yeah,
in Europe.
and what is the point of all of it? It's not based on any principles whatsoever. Sorry to disappoint anyone because these are principleless people. It is to it's to create a very strong chilling effect.
Yep,
See what we did to him? Pay
absolutely.
attention. That's
That's
all this is about,
that's
okay?
that's
It's
that's exactly it.
intimidation. Who would have thought the Stasi would have a new iteration in the 21st century?
That's right. So here was the statement that was first issued by the State Department, and here's the there's this announcement of actions to combat the global censorship industrial complex. This is from Marco Rubio. And the State Department is taking decisive action against 5 individuals who have led organized efforts to coerce American platforms to censor, demonetize, and suppress American viewpoints they oppose. These radical activists and weaponized NGOs have advanced censorship crackdowns by foreign states, in each case targeting American speakers and American companies. As such, I've determined that their entry, presence, or activities in the United States have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences for the United States. But of course, they
It's
have
it's
their
it's it's too bad it isn't more broad about speech in general. But
yeah, no,
before you go on, George and I are not real fans of sanctions. But I mean, if you're going down the sanctions path,
right.
then why don't you sanction these people? Okay.
Exactly. And I think it's relatively mild. I mean, if just simply, okay, well, you can't enter the United States, Okay, but at least they're not getting into your bank account. I mean, sanctions could be quite nasty. They can, yeah, they can get, do all the sorts of things. They can just prevent you from doing any kind of business, even to draw your money out of your
Well,
account.
that Swiss character, Jacques Baud,
Yeah,
what happened to him.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So, and that's the EU. And as we'll
Yeah,
see,
Switzerland is not the EU, everyone,
no,
just
but it
to
was
make
the EU that sanctioned him.
it's
That's
the
that's
EU,
the,
the sanctions, right?
that's right. It was the EU who sanctioned him. It was Kaya Kallas who gleefully made the announcement. Because so it was they declared, oh, it's contrary to our values, to our EU values, because he's spreading Russian propaganda.
Where did she get her values? I mean, she had a privileged communist upbringing. I
Right.
mean, when did she have her epiphany, George? Is there any backstory to that, or is it just grift?
I think it's grift.
Yeah, that
Because
was the self-answering question. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so. I think she and her father, who I think is still alive, had a very, very, very privileged life in the Soviet Union, and her father, I think, very early on realized which way the wind was blowing in the late 1980s with Gorbachev, and then he quickly switched over to the opposition, and so I think that was always baked in with her, just absolute opportunism, and she'd lived a very, very nice life, as did her father. Um, and here we have, based on these determinations, the department has taken steps to impose visa restrictions on agents of the global censorship industrial complex who, as a result, will be generally barred from entering the United States. And then President Trump has been clear that his American first foreign policy rejects violations of American sovereignty. Extraterritorial overreach by foreign censors targeting American speech is no exception. But remember, Thierry Breton, you remember he started threatening Musk. When Musk interviewed Trump in August 2024, he said, well, you better be careful. Otherwise, you might be violating EU law with your interview with Trump. I mean, this is, you're interviewing the leading presidential candidate. So you're violating EU law. And so you better watch your step. Um, and and it says State Department stands ready and willing to expand today's list if other foreign actors do not reverse course. And then here's Rubio's tweet. For far too long, ideologues in Europe have led organized efforts to coerce American platforms to punish American viewpoints they oppose. The Trump administration will no longer tolerate these egregious acts of extraterritorial censorship. Today, the State Department will take steps to bar leading figures of the global censorship industrial complex from entering the United States. We stand ready and willing. So on. And then here was the details of who exactly is being sanctioned. That was left to this Undersecretary of State, Sarah Rogers. She's Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy. And then, it says these sanctions are visa related. We aren't invoking severe Magnitsky style financial measures.
Yeah, I mean the irony of invoking that. But anyway, go ahead.
but, our, but our message is clear. If you spend your career fomenting censorship of American speech, you're unwelcome on American soil. And
Except
then,
for when you're probably going to the United Nations. I think that's the caveat.
um, yes, that I think that is the
That's the equivocation.
that's
Yeah.
the equivocation, but you never can tell with the U.S.
Well, that's
government.
true. Yeah. Well,
They could just simply
I
turn
hope
around
one
and
of
say
it.
you can't come, even though you're going to address the United Nations. So,
Let's see if anybody tested. Okay.
right, because I think was it didn't they? They've done that with various Palestinians, that
Yeah.
denying them the right to come to address the UN. Um, yeah, I mean, because I mean, I guess if you have diplomatic immunity, but I don't know how exactly that works,
Yeah.
that but Thierry Breton doesn't
Let's
have
put it.
diplomatic immunity.
Let's make it clear. I mean, not all these things are well thought out,
No,
but
I don't think so.
I get the intent. Okay, I get
Yes.
it. Okay.
Our targets are foreign, but you'll notice that some collaborated with US bureaucrats on Murty-style speech suppression. Don't worry, we're pursuing transparency, truth, and reconciliation at the State Department, too. So here, this is very, very important because these people collaborate with the Democrats. I mean, that's very, very, very important to keep in mind. These Europeans, the European bureaucrats, the European political leaders, whether they're on the right, like, it's a CDU is on the right, they absolutely are, collaborate with the Democrats. And Breton did exactly that. I mean, why he wanted to ban the interview with Trump. That basically they were very very anxious to see Kamala Harris win in 2024. And then here she says, we've sanctioned Thierry Breton, a mastermind of the Digital Services Act. The Digital Services Act is still in place. I mean,
Yep.
he was the mastermind, but and he's not there anymore. He's an ex-official, but nonetheless, he was a mastermind. But the Digital Service Act is still the law in the EU. And and of course Pavel Durov, he's still kind of yeah, I know he's still sort of in custody. I mean, other he can't leave France. I mean, so he still has to report, I think, twice a week to the local police station. Um, and so in August 2024, while serving as European Commissioner for Internal Markets and Digital Services, he published a letter using the DSA to threaten Elon Musk ahead of his live stream interview with President Trump. Before the interview, Breton ominously reminded Musk of X's legal obligations and ongoing formal proceedings for alleged non-compliance with illegal content and disinformation requirements under the DSA. So this is illegal content. They always say this illegal content, but then you never know what is illegal content. So what is illegal content? Oh, child pornography. Well, that's already
Yeah, yeah,
illegal.
it's
But
our
that's
favorite.
oh, they always bring that one up.
Yeah, that's our, and everyone agrees with that. So what's the debate?
Exactly, exactly. But of course, I mean, yeah,
And it's already illegal.
it's illegal. That's the point. And but they always bring that up because they say, "Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that sounds reasonable." But of course, that's not what they what they're referring to. Oh, doxing. Whatever. That's already illegal. Doxing. Um, but what they really mean is illegal, which is speech they don't like. When they suddenly say hate speech, anything at all can be deemed hate speech.
Yeah, of course. Well, let's put it this way. Everyone watching this podcast, the hours and hours that George and I put into what we do, um, um, I deem about 99% of what I read hate
Yeah.
speech. That's how I look at it. Okay.
Right.
But it shouldn't be illegal. No, of course not.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, I'm insult my intelligence and my morality is insulted 24/7
Right.
by primarily mainstream media, but
Right.
the podcast world is now just a mirror of
Right.
legacy media.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Um, and then she said, we've sanctioned. Who else? Imran Ahmed. Key collaborator with the Biden administration's effort to weaponize the government against US citizens. Ahmed's group, the Center for Countering Digital Hate, and we've talked about that before, that's UK based, created the infamous Disinformation Dozen report, which called for platforms to deplatform 12 American anti vaxxers, including now Health and Human Services Secretary Kennedy. Leaked documents from the Center for Countering Digital Hate show the organization listed kill Musk's Twitter and trigger EU and UK regulatory action as priorities. The organization supports the UK's Online Safety Act and the EU's Digital Services Act to expand censorship in Europe and around the world. So this is nice because this extends the sanctions to a UK base. So you have the EU based disinformation entities. This is UK based. These are all lavishly funded organizations. These aren't sort of a couple of kids are sitting there, going over the internet. These are big, big organizations funded by EU money and funded by UK government money. So they have plush offices in cities like London and so on. So they are well funded. They're powerful, influential organizations. And then who else we sanctioned? We sanctioned Claire Melford. She leads the Global Disinformation Index, which we've also talked about, a UK
How
based.
many organizations are there?
There are many of them. I mean, I was surprised some, like what was the one, um, oh God, there's another one based in London. Just name escapes me. That was the Strategic Dialogue Institute for Strategic
Oh,
Dialogue.
yeah.
Now, they all have these anodyne names. You don't know what does that mean? Like it's for strategic dialogue. Well, I'm for strategic dialogue, but that's what they're always doing,
Yeah,
sniffing out enemies on the internet.
it's our own make work jobs for the children of the curators of the neoliberal order. Okay, it just yeah.
Right. That's right.
I'm sure they all have advanced graduate degrees in
Yeah,
something
but they get
in something
it's
useless.
something
Okay.
useless. But because they're so lavishly funded, if you get a jump there, you're going to be You're going to be living nicely. These are well-paid jobs. You can buy yourself a home in London on that kind of salary. Um, she leads the Global Disinformation Index, a UK-based organization that monitors websites for hate speech and disinformation.
Whoa, fun! What a fun job!
If you question Canadian blood libels about residential schools, you're engaging in hate speech, according to Melford and GDI. This NGO used State Department taxpayer money, of course, to exhort censorship and blacklisting of American speech and press. That's the way this works. They get money from the US government and to use against Americans. So it's not just, using in Europe, but to use American government money to use against Americans.
Well, and think about this, everyone. So there is an incentive to find hate
Yeah,
speech, okay?
absolutely. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh
Very
yeah.
much an
And
incentive.
and 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 if the definition of hate speech, which is not there, there's no such thing. Okay? It doesn't exist.
No, of
It's
course not.
not a legal term.
No, 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 no.
There is no legal foundation
No.
for the idea of hate speech. No, hate speech is something you don't like. And given if her palatial living, she's got to cough up something to justify it.
You're absolutely
Okay,
right. Yeah,
this is the NATO model. I mean, we have to find an aggressor to stay in business.
yeah. No, no, absolutely. That is very much a model. Because if you say, well, there's not much hate speech at the
Yeah,
moment,
yeah.
boom, your grant, is canceled. So, whoa, this hate speech is overwhelming me, so I need lots more money. So always an incentive to demand more money than you had last year. Um, and and then we've sanctioned Anna-Lena von Hodenberg. Oh, a von Hodenberg. So, obviously very, that's a good, nice family. We had
Oh,
von der Leyen, this is a fun.
here's the next wonderful name. Keep going, George.
When I read Annalena, also sanctioning Annalena Baerbock, no, Annalena von Hodenberg, the leader and founder of Hate Aid.
What did did somebody come up with this name over drinks or something? I mean, hate aid. What?
I thought you meant her, the von Hodenberg. It's like someone came up with that name. Yes, Hate Aid. Yes.
Well, if it's a Vaughn here, I mean, so maybe she came up with it, and everyone. Oh yeah, Annalena, what's such a wonderful name? Oh, I hope I'll be your executive assistant. Oh, thank you. Well, this. Oh God.
But
It is. There's like tongue bath all over this.
yeah, but I love it that the people like her, retain the fawn. They're not going to let go of that name. I've got to have the fawn. Don't forget the fawn. Um, you know, as the leader and founder of Hate Aid, German organization founded after the 2017 German federal elections to counter conservative groups. Hate Aid is an official trusted flagger, quote, trusted flagger, a censor, exactly. We trust it. We just go around flagging, flag. We don't like you, so we're going to flag you. Flagger, a censor under the EU's Anti-Speech Digital Services Act and routinely demands access to proprietary social media platform data to help it censor more.
So
Access to your
for everyone,
proprietary social media platform data.
so for everyone, the Digital Service Act is their new divine scripture. It
Yes.
looks like.
Yeah. It's a mechanism for banning whomever you want.
Yeah, so instead of having the New Testament here, what does God think about this? Like,
Mm.
oh, I found the passage. Now,
That's
some
it.
of these people they have the Digital Service Act. It's like,
Yep.
oh, there's got to be something's. I have to find this is. I have to flag this statement. I'm so offended. Okay,
Yes,
it's
sir.
called political speech.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Offended.
It's
But
all political speech. It's not hate speech. It's
no.
political speech.
And of course, you know, included within hate speech is, of course, the ubiquitous Kremlin propaganda, Kremlin talking points, and everything else. I mean, how did they do that? What they did with Jacques Baud? Well, hey, this is just this is Kremlin propaganda. So that falls under the Digital Services Act. So it's everything that you don't like can simply be banned. Um, Hodenberg cited threat of disinformation. See, they all cite threat of disinformation from right-wing extremists online in upcoming US and EU elections when circulating a petition for the DSA to become more strongly enforced to allow data access for researchers. But
Okay.
yeah, go on.
Anyone, these people, when they come across someone they disagree with or an idea they disagree, it's right-wing
Oh
extremism.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But in Germany, this is now a regular thing.
Yeah.
People just raiding your home
Yep.
because of your Facebook posts.
No, they can clandestinely enter your home, bug your computer, and put surveillance
Yes,
clandestinely.
yes, that's right. I mean,
When
quite stunning.
when I said the Stasi, I meant it.
Exactly. It's literally his stars here. Yeah. And then also we've sanctioned Josephine Ballon, co-leader of Hate Aid, who flags disfavored speech through Europe under the Digital Services Act. In addition to her running an official trusted flagger body under the DSA, she serves on Germany's advisory council of the Digital Services Coordinator.
I like this trusted flagger.
Yeah, kind of
So I think George, you need to change our local page to trusted podcasters.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
I like that idea. I like that. We're
me,
trusted.
me too.
Because if these people can call themselves trusted, what
Right.
does that mean? By who trusts you?
That's right.
You trust you deigned to give that moniker to yourself. Well, anyone else can do that. So we're a trusted podcast, okay?
It kind
And
of
don't forget it. And I'm going to remind you,
no, no,
we're
it kind of reminds me of you remember Trump's truth when he refers to Mark Rutte, the highly respected Mark Rutte. He just throws that in highly respected.
Oh, it's funny because during Putin's Q&A, he said what is it? He's intelligent, but he talks nonsense.
Yes, that's right. Yes, yes. Um, so which directly advises Germany's DSC on the application and enforcement of the DSA. In February 2025, Ballon spoke before an American audience in a notable 60 minutes interview
I
outlining
remember.
her position on censorship succinctly.
I
Free
remember this.
speech needs boundaries. Yeah, that's the
Yeah. Well, before we did this podcast, George and I were talking about the fiasco going on at 60 Minutes. This is another, this storied history of 60 Minutes. I'm sorry, I'm going to break one of our rules right here. 60 Minutes has been shit for 30 years. Okay? I'm sorry, everyone. It's been
exactly.
that for 30 years.
Yeah,
Because this interview that is being referenced here, yeah, it was amazing what they had to say about German censorship. And 60 Minutes, they weren't aghast. They were like, oh, maybe we should try it here.
that's right.
That's what you got from
That's right. That's
that
that's right. Exactly.
storied 60
Yeah,
minutes.
absolutely, absolutely. They talked to them. It was, I think, it was a 13-minute item, and they were entirely, gave no criticism at all to these to the Germans who were enforcing this. On the contrary, it's the usual kind of question like, hey, well, how can you make sure? I mean, this is the World Wide Web. So even if you crack down here in Germany, how are you going to prevent the disinformation spreading elsewhere? Because they're saying, you got to find some way to crack down some more. That's always their go-to question. It's like when you have the NATO press conferences, it's always, why aren't you doing more to counter Russian disinformation and Russians' intrusions on our information space, or our so whatever. So that's always the question, question they ask. Um, Free speech needs boundaries. I mean, isn't it? This is exactly the way
Think about it, dear.
it needs boundaries. Yeah.
Free and boundaries really are tethered, aren't they? Aren't they?
And they always say things like free speech doesn't mean fake speech. Well, actually, it does. I mean, free
Yes,
speech
it
doesn't say,
does.
it doesn't say it has to be truthful. It doesn't say it has to, anything. It just, yeah, it can be fake speech, can be offensive speech, all of it. Untrue,
Lying
yeah.
is
Lying
speech.
speech, exactly. Yeah. In October 2024, she vowed to stop the emotionalization of debates by regulating platforms. Yeah. Uh,
Emotionalizing.
Emotionalization, yes. Um,
Emotionalization.
and so here that was, and then none of these sanctioned is a current UK or EU official. However, we know that foreign government officials are actively targeting the United States. This week, the UK's Liberal Democrats claim President Trump's national security strategy amounts to foreign interference by a hostile foreign state because it correctly identifies mass migration and decaying national sovereignty as existential European security concerns. And it is true, they have said that, that the United States is a hostile foreign state interfering in our domestic affairs. So well, that would be great. I mean, if they could just ban some UK liberal Democrats from entering the United States, I'm all for that.
I should be careful here because my emotional response is that, why don't you just build a Chinese disinformation wall around the entire EU and leave the rest of us alone?
Exactly.
Okay. But
That's
that
right.
would be unfair to the people that
Well,
like
it's unfair
you.
to people of the EU. I mean, the
Yeah.
problem is that they pass these legislation. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants this Digital Services Act, the UK Online Safety Act. Nobody wanted it, and yet these things just get passed. Because of the political elites. Whether Liz Truss, one of the people pushing for the Online Safety Act, now that she's reinvented herself as some sort of a Bannonite libertarian. But yeah, she was with that whole Online Safety Act, and then you got the Digital Services Act. These are all utterly undemocratic.
Yeah,
Anyway, this is
I
Emmanuel.
miss Liz.
Yeah,
I miss Liz. Yeah, she was good material. It wasn't for long, unfortunately.
that's true. Here's Emmanuel Macron. He responded. He wasn't happy. France condemns the visa restriction measures taken by the United States against Thierry Breton and four other European figures.
Well, keep mouthing off, Emmanuel. You can be next. That would be great, wouldn't it? Look at a sanction Macron. Okay.
Yes,
Oh, that'd be just
that
hysterical.
would be hysterical. We're just going to ban Emmanuel Macron
Well, I
coming.
mean, you better be careful. That guy in the White House, he might get wind of this and he'll say this. just banish him. Thank
That's right. If he
you.
wants to,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, we'll let you address the United Nations. Otherwise, you can't come in.
You're in the category with the Palestinians.
That's right, exactly. Um, these measures amount to intimidation and coercion aimed at undermining European digital sovereignty. Sovereignty. I mean, this is this sovereignty. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what you have been doing. You have been practicing intimidation and coercion for years and years, terrifying people by so hey, I get the if you get deplatformed, these days that's it. You don't have any other means of getting heard. You're off this platform, you're off all of the platforms. That's it. I mean, nobody knows of your existence. Intimidation and coercion. The European Union's digital regulations were adopted following a democratic and sovereign process by the European Parliament and Council.
The European Parliament is sovereign, is democratic.
Democratic.
I mean, come on, who writes this stuff?
Well, Macron.
Everyone. The European Parliament cannot propose legislation.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, how is that democratic?
Right.
Why is it even a parliament?
It's
It
not.
just sucks up funds.
That's right.
And then if you're through, it doesn't matter what member state you're in. If you lose power, you just go to the European Parliament and wait it out.
That's right. Exactly. This legislation is proposed by the European Commission,
Mission.
and the Parliament then adopts it. But you're absolutely right. The source of the legislation is not Parliament; it's the European Commission. And then they apply within Europe to ensure fair competition among platforms. Fair competition. This is you keep hitting the platforms with fines because they don't comply with your nostrums of what is free speech.
Well, what is fair competition among platforms?
I
I
don't know.
mean, why is any European entity putting their thumb on a scale when it comes to competition?
Yeah.
No, they want to pick winners and losers.
Right.
That's what they call fair competition. We decide who wins.
Right. Yes. Um, um, but also yeah, but fair competition among whom? I mean, they're essentially hitting everybody, threatening others. Some comply with their threats. I mean, Facebook is generally quite compliant with their threats. X Musk hasn't been compliant, so they keep hitting him with fines. What does any of that got to do with competition? I mean, just say, hey, you better do as we say, or we're going to hit you with fines. And the fines is quite steep, 6% of global revenue. For a company like X, 6% of global revenue, that's some serious money there.
George, do you think that these people, these officials that we're discussing here, would they just like to see X leave completely?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Um, And so, then says the rules governing the European Union's digital space are not meant to be determined outside Europe. Well, nobody's determining it. We're just going to be hitting, the officials who are implementing it. So, I mean, you can have your digital space, you just can't come into the United States. Together with the European Commission and our European partners, we will continue to defend our digital sovereignty and our regulatory autonomy. Now, that's a rallying cry. Can you imagine the Europeans saying, yes, Emmanuel is speaking up on our behalf, digital sovereignty. We want our digital services act. Give us online safety act or give us death. The whole idea that you're going to try and make this some sort of a populist platform, digital sovereignty, the platform of censoring and banishing people, and that's going to be your populist platform, and the people are going to follow this.
Yeah, what is it going to be called? The censorship party?
That's exactly. And here's Macron sends out another tweet. I have just spoken with Thierry Breton. Oh, good for you. And thanked him for his significant contribution in the service of Europe. We will stand firm against pressure and will protect Europeans.
Isn't it amazing how Macron and his cronies, every single issue they support, it's usually 80-20, 90-10, and they're always in the minority. It's
That's
amazing.
that's
Issue after issue after issue. Whatever it is, he's on the wrong side of it.
You're absolutely right. It's 80-20 or 90-10 because you ask and you know any European, the European on the street that says, "Yeah, I want a free internet, you know, where I can express my views. I want to post what I want on Facebook. I want to post what I want on Twitter." That would be the populist view, but they're absolutely no, no, no. We our digital sovereignty, is our right to censor people. We have our right to rule, and we will not brook criticism. We'll not put up with it.
Yeah, this whole attitude by this crowd is that they think of themselves as aristocrats.
Yeah,
You know, we have to make sure the peasants, don't get out of control. Okay. They just have a fundamental superiority complex over everyone else.
right.
It's really quite amazing to me how postmodern secularized everything is in Europe. But they keep the category of the anointed and the pious. They've expunged any traditional understanding of those terms and
Yeah.
appropriated it to themselves. So they speak about themselves in the third person as if
Yes.
they were appointed by God to do
Yes.
this work. Okay,
Yes.
it again. We've talked about elite capture. I mean, this
Yeah.
is how all these people end up being the same media. The only thing that differentiates people is their clothing and eyewear.
Right. Right. But that's the thing. They
And even
believe
that's pretty uniform.
right.
Sorry.
They believe in their divine right to rule. And therefore they get very, very angry when they have to listen to criticism. I mean, it's like, well, who are these peasants criticizing us? What do they know? We are the experts. We
And what
know
about those American peasants?
exactly the Americans. Americans. What do they know? They're not like us. They don't have history. They don't have civilization.
They don't have culture.
They have no culture. Exactly. Um, and this is Johann Wadefull. And who's Johann Wadefull? He is the German foreign minister.
That name never comes to mind. I
No, it
tried,
doesn't.
never
That's why I
comes
had
to
to say,
mind.
who's Johann Wadefull? He's the German foreign minister. It's very strange how we never know who the German foreign minister is. Even the French foreign minister, you'd have to scratch your head and remember who the French foreign
Yeah, but
minister.
when George and I were coming up, we always knew who the German foreign minister. Everyone did. Okay,
That's right.
it was the same guy most of the
Well, it
time.
was the time. But if you ask somebody, hey, who's the prime minister of France? People go, I don't know who the prime minister. People know Macron, but they have no idea who the prime minister of France is. There's some
And you know
some
why? Because
nondescript character.
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
That's why we don't know it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So Johann Wadefull says the entry bans imposed by the USA, including those against the chairpersons. Oh, chairpersons. He's got, he gets the right language. Chairpersons of hate aid are not acceptable.
That's how Germans talk now. It's not acceptable.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to accept it
It's not
because
acceptable. It's again, it's orders.
that's right. Yes.
Order.
Yeah. But the problem here is that the Americans don't really care whether you accept it or not. I mean, it's just I don't know. I mean, all right, well, you cannot accept it.
Well, can't he
Um,
say German deindustrialization is unacceptable?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes. The Digital Services Act ensures that everything that is illegal offline is also illegal online. Well, that's kind of ominous, and then you're going to tell us, well, what is illegal offline? Please inform us, because it's probably you've got quite a wide array of things that
Yeah.
you think is illegal offline and should also be illegal online. So illegal online. And then he says the DSA was democratically adopted, okay, democratically adopted by the EU for the EU. It does not have extraterritorial effect, but of course it has extraterritorial effect, as we saw with the threats of Thierry Breton to Musk, and of course anyone who's living in Europe basically, and if you happen to be Americans, plenty of Americans who live in Europe, then if something is banned in Europe, then, tough luck, buddy, you're not going to hear it.
It's not really my lane, but I think it was the editor of Middle East Eye or something like, or Mondi Weiss or something like that. He was giving a speech in Germany, and they barred him from speaking. Okay, it's not extraterritorial. Yes, it is.
Of course, it's extraterritorial. I
Of
mean,
course it is.
it's so disingenuous. Of course, it's
Oh,
extra.
I'm sure if I went to Berlin and lucky enough to get through customs and passport control, and I gave a speech, I would be barred.
Yes, absolutely. That that's right. Um, we intend to address other interpretations fundamentally with the USA in the transatlantic dialogue in order to strengthen our partnership. Oh,
It doesn't sound like there's any interpretations for these people or dialogue with these people.
yes. And then this is Jean-Noël Barrot. Who's Jean-Noël Barrot? He's the French foreign minister. Just in case. So now we know Johann Wadepo.
He's got a cool name. That's okay.
Jean-Noël, yes. Yes. Barrot. Um, Sounds like, kind of a movie star from the
Yeah,
1930s.
exactly.
Jean-Noël
He,
Barrot. What
yeah,
happened to him? He was in the
he sounds like he's an actor in a Netflix serial. Yeah.
France strongly condemns the visa restriction imposed by the United States on Thierry Breton, former minister and European commissioner, and four other European figures. The Digital Services Act was democratically adopted. You see, those for the way they all get the same language. Boom,
Yeah,
boom.
but it's interesting. And four other European figures. See, only this crowd says that.
Yes,
Average people, they arrested two Europeans. No, they would say a Dane and an Italian. That's how people talk. Only this crowd speaks that way.
yes. Democratic adopted in Europe to ensure that what is illegal offline is also illegal online. See, they all have
Okay,
that.
who's plagiarizing who here?
It's very. I think somebody dictates this. I think it's somebody who writes these talking points, and then it's distributed, and then everybody just simply sends this out under different names. It's like a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. Just and lasting. But they all say the just and lasting peace. And you think, well, who wrote that? It has absolutely no extraterritorial reach. You say the same thing, they've got that, and in no way affects the United States. Well, of course it affects the United States. I mean, you keep hitting an American company, American companies, because it's not just X, it's Facebook. So you're hitting all of the leading American companies. So absolutely, it affects the United States. The peoples of Europe are free and sovereign. No, they're not, and cannot let rules governing their digital space be imposed by others upon them.
Yeah, but the EU does that.
But the EU does that exactly. Well, the whole idea that you're now going to embrace somehow the peoples of Europe, really, you're speaking on behalf of the peoples of Europe. Yeah, because the peoples of Europe love it when police come knocking on their door and want to know about their Facebook posts. Yeah, that absolutely they adore it. That's their they're willing to die for the right of the police to censor their
Yeah,
postings.
I think we have to come up with a new category here. This is like the coalition of low IQ. Okay.
Yeah, but this guy,
Coalition of what is it?
right.
Low octane thinkers.
Right, yeah. What was remember that there was what was that phrase? The Confederation of Dunces. So you have the coalition of the dunces. Um,
Yeah, I could just see, they're on a panel and they give their spiel, they have to put a dunce cap on. That's like, what was it? What was that film? The young boys that were stranded on the island.
was the one with what
Uh,
these the
Lord of the Lord,
Lord of the Flies, Lord of the
Lord,
Flies.
yeah, Lord of the Flies. And they had what was that? Was a bone or something? He's
Yes.
it was something that I'm speaking, and you would have to hold it. Okay,
That's right. Yeah.
it's my turn to speak. These people will put a dunce hat on
Right.
for us.
Right. Um,
It's a good film, Lord of the Flies, by the way.
yes, the one that was made in the 1960s.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
really good.
remade, which was a weak remake, but the
Yeah,
1960s one was very
that
good.
was a really good film. It made a really big impact on me. I
Yeah,
don't know
it
about
was
you, but
scary.
because I
It was quite a scary
scary. Yeah.
film. Yeah, yeah. And Thierry Breton finally weighs in. Is McCarthy's witch hunt back? I mean, somebody who's a tyrant and a censor the way he is, who threatens everybody the way he does, he is now going to talk about McCarthy's witch hunt.
Yeah, and if you disagree with him, he's going to make you have his hairdo.
Ex-
It's the French are the best at it, I think. Don't you think? I mean,
they are,
others do it in Europe, but the French seem to have perfected this.
yeah,
I
you're right.
don't give a shit.
That
Quoi.
that is that hairdo. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. It's a very, it's,
It
you
could
know,
be a wig
could be, but yeah, he has that,
off the rack.
but the French, you're right. The French. There was a guy, Dominique Villepin. You remember he was that
There you
French prime
go.
minister under Chirac. Exactly the same thing. And you kind of looked at it and you precisely thought, hey, how does one
How
get
does
a
that
hairdo
work?
like that?
How does that work?
Yeah, exactly. That must take work. I mean, if that's real, that must take work to get it like that,
Do
like that. Yeah,
you
yeah.
hire someone to do that? Is that a full-time job?
That is a full-time job. It's not going to stay in place. I mean, it's like there's just no way it could stay in place like that. So.
Yeah, he probably never speaks outside because he's afraid of the wind. But anyway.
As a reminder, 90% of the European Parliament are democratically elected body, and
Okay.
all 27 member states unanimously voted the DSA. There's all 27, 90% of the European Parliament. Well, the problem with the European Parliament is that no one really takes part in these elections. I mean, say, they have these. I mean, it's these events like the European parliamentary elections. You have the lowest possible participation rate. To
Look, anyone living in Europe, here's a little trick I want you to, a little exercise. The next person you see, ask them who's our elected member to the European Parliament. I will guarantee you, and you can go to the bank with it, they
right?
will not know.
No, they will absolutely not know. To our American friends, censorship isn't where you think it is. That sounds kind of ominous, but I'm not sure exactly what he means by that.
Well, maybe it's because it's a foreign language for him, and he probably thought it was a stinger. I don't even know what he means. Okay.
No, no, censorship isn't where you think it is. So, and then this is a statement. The European Commission, they issued a statement.
Wow, they got really wound up over this, didn't they?
This is Christmas Eve. So really, this is already, they took time out from, their Christmas shopping to issue a statement.
It's
Statement that,
interesting. It's interesting that they get so wound up because a foreign country, in this case, the United States, challenges them.
right.
You know why it really irks them there? Because it has been institutionalized where people living within the European Union cannot fight back.
That's
And
right.
they're not used to this. They're not
That's
used to
right.
this. Oh,
That's exactly right. No one fights back, and that's why whenever occasionally somebody speaks in the European Parliament and attacks Ursula von der Leyen, she always sits there with a smirk on her face because she
yeah,
knows you're nothing. You're just one
that's
pathetic
right.
person.
You're
Yeah,
nothing,
all
and
right, you can sound off.
you're nothing, and I have a writing crop, and my boot's been
Exactly. Yeah,
shined this morning.
that's right. And so that so she always has that smirk on her face.
Is it possible she could be um, um, the granddaughter of Colonel Klink?
But Colonel Click was a benign figure,
Yeah, he was. He was.
incompetent but benign
One of
figure.
the greatest television characters of all time. I mean, he was so good at playing. It was Werner. I don't remember his last name now,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. I can't.
I mean, I'll tell you how good he was in his character that it made him essentially unemployable for the rest of his acting life.
Yeah,
Okay, because it was a perfect character
that's
in
right.
every way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Um, And so here's a statement by the
I
European.
always liked it when someone showed up and said, Schnapps. Would you like some schnapps? Okay. And of course, me growing up with that TV program, I had no idea what schnapps were. And it was just, that's what Colonel Klink gives people, schnapps.
But of course, Sergeant
Sorry.
Schultz was always essentially incompetent. I mean, they were basically they're both incompetent. But occasionally, you would get the SS riding in, and then they're of course even more terrified of the SS
The
than
prisoners.
exactly. Um, so here's the decision. The European Commission strongly condemns the US decision to impose travel restrictions on 5 European individuals, including former European Commissioner Thierry Breton. But they say European. I mean, they got to European because, of course, there are some from the UK, and that the European Commission doesn't can't really speak on their.
Yeah, and don't call Brits Europeans. Okay?
Yeah,
You better know who you're talking to,
that's
okay?
exactly.
Because they can be fighting words, and you might not know it.
That's
Okay.
right. But this is a classic. Freedom of expression is a fundamental right in Europe. This is the European Commission. Freedom of expression is a fundamental right in Europe. And anybody who says otherwise will be arrested and charged with hate crimes. And the
Yes, but okay, freedom of speech is a fundamental right in Europe. Well, if you truly believe that, then why don't you enshrine an American style First Amendment?
Mhm.
Now, why don't you, do it? Don't just say it.
Because they
And
won't. Because yeah, go. No,
go ahead.
that's right. Because what they say is that yes, freedom of speech, but freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of fake speech, freedom of false speech. It doesn't mean freedom of disinformation. That's so they that's yeah, of course I'm for free speech, but I'm not for
Well,
fake
I
speech.
mean, you know what this is akin to, everyone, is that, okay, the European Union determines what a pepperoni pizza is.
Mhm.
But there are a lot of pepperoni pizzas out
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm sure it's better than anything that they would prescribe.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I mean it when you put so many when you put parentheses around so many things when it comes to speech, you're defeating the purpose. Okay, we all know, everyone intuitively understands even if you're not an American, you understand what freedom of speech is.
Right.
So don't tell me what it is. We all of us collectively know what it is.
Right. That's the thing. The United States did commit itself, remarkably to this
There it
free
is.
speech. It's in the First Amendment, the very first one. The government will make no laws to abridge speech. Didn't say truthful speech, correct speech. Then it's just a speech. But that's not the European view. Europeans absolutely, the British, where supposedly the Americans come from the British, they don't have that. They are quite happy to impose any restrictions they want on speech. They don't believe in it. They don't believe free speech. They believe in people say what we want them to say. But the whole idea of freedom of expression is a fundamental right in Europe and a shared core value with the United States across the democratic world. But obviously it isn't because the United States does not
Obviously, it
does not
isn't.
think it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it isn't. How do we know that? Because it's Christmas Eve and you're writing this.
That's right. And the Americans have been talking about this now. We started in February with J.D. Vance when he gave the speech in Munich. Then we had the national security strategy document, which also addressed the free speech issue. And now you've got this. So it's not a core value with the United States. The EU is an open, rules-based, rules-based single market. I like, that's it. With the sovereign right to regulate economic activity in line with our democratic values and international commitments. Where
Yeah,
you got, yeah, okay,
whoever wrote that is so proud of themselves.
that's right,
They got everything in one sentence.
that's right,
Okay, that's cute work.
that's right.
Okay, it's all rubbish
Of course, it's
though.
right.
Okay,
Sovereign
okay.
right to regulate. Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. They it was the Euro. What who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline? Is that in line with an open, rules-based single market, sovereign rights? No,
Right.
it
Right.
has nothing to do with that.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Um, and here we have our digital rules ensure a safe, fair, and level playing field for all companies applied fairly and without discrimination. You know,
Except if you're Twitter, okay.
exactly. That's right. And that's why we keep finding Twitter. Um, we have requested clarifications from the US authorities and remain engaged. If needed,
As if anybody in Washington is engaged right now with these people. God.
that's right. If needed, we'll respond swiftly and decisively to defend our regulatory autonomy against unjustified measures. But of course, the Americans dropped this on Christmas Eve so that, hey, there's nobody here to take your call. I mean, we're all at home with our families. Sorry, there's
Well,
not going to
I
be
don't.
anyone at the office for a while.
There might be someone reading that last sentence. If needed, we will respond swiftly and decisively to defend our regulatory autonomy against unjustified measure. Well, I think Emmanuel Macron just got that much closer to being sanctioned. Okay. You get to don't mess with us, okay?
That's right.
Don't mess.
That's yeah, unjustified measures. And then here is Stéphane Séjourne. Now, I have to say, I didn't know who Stéphane Séjourne is, but he is the successor to Thierry Breton. He holds the same position that Breton held. He's the new EU commissioner for whatever, information,
Uh,
digital. Yeah,
Stefan, that's a man's name.
yeah, for a lot of these people aren't really a little bit short on the man part. So,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of questioning going on here.
Exactly. A lot of
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. A lot of gender questioning going on. My predecessor, Thierry Breton, acted in the interest of the European general good. The European
I,
general good. Oh, that's a good one.
I'm just checking the quaff there. Okay, all right.
He's a younger guy, so he doesn't quite have that. So he doesn't, it comes with age that quaff. It has to be kind of gray. You have to have the gray.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He acted in the interest of the European general good. That's never a good sound when you talk
We were
about the
so
general good.
benevolent. We're benevolent.
Exactly. Faithful to the mandate given by the voters in 2019.
Okay. Yeah,
No sanction will silence the sovereignty of the European peoples.
we will do it ourselves.
Exactly. That's right. I just love that they're throwing this out. The idea that they're speaking on behalf of anyone, they're speaking on behalf of the European peoples.
No, they're all writing this because they're terrified that they're going to get, some kind of travel ban too. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
won't be able to visit my Miami property because it's so cold here now. These are just cowardice people,
Yes,
the worst people
that's
ever
right.
to know.
That's right. Total solidarity with him and all affected Europeans. Solidarity. That's it. We stand with the censors. You know, give us censorship or give us death. Um, so this is but you're absolutely right when you said that they're very upset because they're not used to being treated in this way. Normally, what happens on Christmas Eve is that they issue a new set of sanctions against Russia. This is the number 25 of the European of the sanctions against Russia. That's what they usually drop on Christmas Eve. They weren't really expecting themselves to be sanctioned on this Christmas Eve. Um, and then here's the Guardian, which is
Oh,
the
it wouldn't be Christmas Eve without the
without the
Guardian.
Guardian. Macron and EU condemn US visa bans as row over censorship escalates. And here we have Germany's justice ministry said the two German campaigners had the government's support and solidarity, and the visa bans were unacceptable adding that hate aid supported people affected by unlawful digital hate speech.
Well,
Now,
I
this
mean,
is
what's going on here? With the German campaigners? I thought these were, dignified, institutionalized, legitimized.
right. They're bankrolled by the German
Yeah,
government.
yeah. I mean,
They're not just sort of campaigners out there, sitting at home, in their little tiny little apartments, monitoring the internet. No, no, no. These are lavishly funded by governments, by the German government.
I thought they were flagged, trusted
Yeah,
flaggers, or
they're trusted flaggers.
okay,
They like to go around flagging things.
and
Um,
flagging.
but they have this government support and solidarity. We
Well,
with you.
they know these people are the government.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And it says hate aid supported people affected by unlawful digital hate speech. Unlawful. I mean, I love it. How do you get that? It's unlawful. Why is it unlawful? Well, it's unlawful according to the Digital Services Act.
Well,
Exactly.
I much prefer lawful hate speech. Okay.
That's right. Yes, exactly. That's my preference is lawful hate
Yeah,
speech.
and if you give me a choice, we go with
I'm going to go for the
lawful
lawful
hate
hate
speech.
speech. Yeah. Um, and then here it said in the statement, anyone who describes this as censorship is misrepresenting our constitutional system. And
What constitutional system? You mean
yeah,
in Germany?
it sounds like it. German is just justice ministry. Yes, our
Oh,
constitution.
okay, all right. So this is the words of the German judge.
It's the
Okay,
German justice, but you're right. I mean,
sorry,
I
sorry.
can't tell from that whether the reference is to the German constitutional system or the EU
So that's
constitutional
what
system.
that's why I
No, I
flagged
think
it.
that's
That's why I
a
flagged it.
that you flagged it. That it has to be flagged. The rules by which we want to live in the digital space in Germany and in Europe are not decided in Washington.
They're decided in Brussels.
They're decided in Brussels by self-appointed tyrants like ourselves. We get to decide this. Um, and here you see he's misrepresenting our constitutional system. So if you call it censorship, because normally one thinks of censorship is banning things, but when we ban things, then that's not censorship because we're banning unlawful hate speech. So that's not censorship. And if you say otherwise, we will find ways to punish you. Um, so this is they're just indignant. These are the people. These are people who are regularly sanctioned. I mean, we talk about Jacques Baud, but I mean, they're sanctioned all the time. That was your friend was also sanctioned, Javier Moreau. The who he's one of the people sanctioned.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I can tell you that I think I messaged him about it. He's so proud. He's so proud because these people have lowered the mask. We see
right,
who they are when
right,
they do. You know who you know people by what they do.
right,
Okay, and this is what they've done, and they've shown themselves to be censorious
right.
scum.
Yeah, exactly. The rules by which we want to live in the digital space are not decided in Washington.
It sounds so dramatic.
Yeah, dramatic and so, whoa, to the barricades.
That's right. Get
Who's
the
at the
orchestra
barricades?
playing.
Marchons, marchons. We're gonna fight the Americans. Yeah, right. Okay. Who's gonna join you on the barricades? Um, and then Dennis Radke, an MEP and a member of the German ruling CDU, said the Trump fans in Europe defend this as a fight for freedom of speech. Where exactly has an opinion been suppressed? Well, they listed there were a number of people being suppressed. I mean, they actually cited all the COVID during the COVID era. They were absolutely suppressing speech. Um, and then, where is the fight for freedom of speech with regard to China and Russia?
Well, I thought it was you didn't go extraterritorial. So, I mean, what's it to you?
Exactly.
What's it to you? And
What's
you
it?
think people in China and Russia give a hoot what you think about what speech means? They don't.
but now that you bring up China and Russia, I mean, haven't you banned pretty much all media that emanate from Russia? I mean, isn't all of that banned in Europe? So yeah, that's as freedom of speech. You kind of banned all this. That's exactly what you have done. Nice of you to worry about free speech in Russia. That's very, very generous of you. Thank you
Well,
for worrying
well,
about
they've
free speech
banned
in
so
Russia.
much that they've banned so much is that what's left is what they can tolerate. We have freedom of speech. Okay,
That's right.
no, they have a very confined, very narrow narrative in which you
Right.
can speak.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly. And you know, every time they bring up whenever they have these round of sanctions, they always find some Russian media outlet. Who'd have thunk that this Russian media outlet still has access to the EU? Oh, we're going to ban this. Oh, well, that's great. So every round of sanctions, they're going to find something else that they can ban.
Well, I mean, and I don't want to chew up time here, but there's been when they were shutting down Radio Free Europe and all that other nonsense, that they shut down these opposition Russian ones that are located outside of Russia, and they were just crying, just why are they cutting us off? Okay, we did exactly what they wanted us to do.
Right.
They're fun. This slashed, okay, which you could see was a grift,
Right.
obviously, but I mean. Yeah, this is what happens.
That's
Okay,
right.
I
Yeah.
mean, George and I, we're very, very liberal when it comes to freedom of speech. I've been called all kinds of things. I'm sure George has too, and it's water off the back of a duck. I could care less. Okay.
Yes, yes, but also, free speech is free speech. Don't worry about free speech somewhere else. That's not really your remit. You're supposed to be whatever MEP, CDU, whatever. Worry about free speech in Europe. But they know they're happy to crack down on free speech, and then they kind of worry about, whoa, what's going on with free speech in China and Russia. Whoa, what's that to you? Are you elected representative in China? Is that? I mean,
Well,
and
I
then
don't.
we have,
These are the same people that have no idea about what speech is in Russia or in China. Okay,
yeah, and then
uninformed opinion. Go ahead.
that's right. And then Raphael Glucksmann, a French socialist MEP, said in a message to Rubio, "For far too long, Europe has been weak in implementing its own laws and defending its own interests.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Ask Musk.
That's right. You have chosen to cozy up to tyrants and confront democracy." Oh, them's fighting words. "The time has come for us to stand up." Oh, good, goody.
Good,
Kneel as
good.
much
Do
as you
it.
want
Do
to.
it.
Yeah, kneel as much as you want in front of Putin. This is a message to
This
Rubio.
is a brain worm.
It is a brainworm. We are the free world now. That's Kaya Kallas talk. We
yeah.
are the free world now.
Well, that's also Angela Merkel after Trump was elected. Okay.
Yes, yes, that's right. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Just be the free world by leave the rest of us alone.
that's
Okay.
good. Be the free world.
Be free alone.
But I,
Okay.
I just find it hilarious. He says this to Rubio, Marco Rubio. Hey, kneel as much as you want in front of Putin. We are the free world now. We are not a colony of the United States.
Yes, you are, and you allowed it to happen.
That's right. We are Europeans. We must defend our laws, our principles, our interests.
We will defend our laws when we break the law. We will defend our principles when we break our principles. We'll
Right.
defend our interests, and we won't defend our interest when necessary. That's the crux of the
That's
problem.
that's it. But notice that this is a figure kind of on the left. So notice that the French socialists. So notice how left and right talk exactly the same language. Exactly
Yep, yep,
left,
yep. Good
socialist,
point.
CDU, Green. They're all singing from the same hymn sheet. No difference
Good.
at all between any of them. We're fighting for European sovereignty. We must defend our laws, our principles, our interests. So don't, the idea that people start supporting, oh, well, I'm supporting the socialists, because they're so they're going to do something. No, the socialists are exactly the same. I mean, it's the same thing. The scandalous, this
Scandalous,
scandalous,
scandalous.
I'm scandalized. I'm not gonna put up with these scandals. These scandalous sanction against Thierry Breton with a nice haircut, against Thierry, good friend of mine. Thierry Breton pays tribute to his fight for our sovereignty. The scandalous sanction pays tribute to his fight for our sovereignty. We will continue it together to this end. So he's another one for the barricades,
To
Raphael.
the end. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
to
good
this
luck
end.
with that.
That's it.
To the end. Yep.
This is
That's
like
exactly where you are at the
that's right.
end.
It's like we're going to fight for Ukraine to the end. Um, so this is a nice little Christmas present for the world. This punishment, and the Europeans very, very unhappy about this, even
Oh, they're
though
victims. We're victims. We're
we're
victims.
victims. Even
Yeah.
though this is what they do. They sanction all the time. They're always issuing sanctions, much harsher. I mean, that you can't come into the United States. I mean, it's not so terrible. But the Europeans, they do much harsher sanctions. There's some serious stuff there. I mean, basically you're cut off from your bank account. You cut off from, your credit cards, everything else. That's some serious sanctions. So this is pretty mild. And the Europeans, they're howling, and adopting this mantle of populism, that somehow democracy and freedom and so on. These people have been boasting, arrogantly boasting now for years about how they're shutting down speech that they don't like. They're shutting down fake news. They're shutting down disinformation. Russia's hybrid information warfare. They're closing down all of these things, and now suddenly they find themselves, the sanction, and they're so upset about it.
Yeah, well, to the Europeans or this elite, you should have stayed out of American politics, okay? Because it's coming back.
Yeah.
And they will they are regretting that now. You remember the British government was going to send in,
They did. They
political
sent them in. They
advisors.
sent. Yeah, that was. They did send them. Keir Starmer sent in advisors to Kamala Harris. Yeah, yeah. But you're absolutely right. They've been doing that since 2015, 2016, interfering in
It's
American
important.
politics.
It's important to highlight here because we've mentioned Twitter X a number of times here. This is where when people this whole transatlantic gig of talking about values, George and I have criticized from the get-go because it's so easy to do. It's such an empty position to take about our values, okay? But when it starts getting down to money, then people start getting a little serious
Right.
here. And it's obviously true, and I'm not picking sides if it's put to me that way, is that, this is an American company,
Right.
and you're punishing it for laws that are not upheld in the United States. So this gets down to the nitty gritty, okay?
That's right.
And so money talks,
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
Now, or as Bob Dylan said, it screams,
That's
okay?
right. That's right.
And so they're going to lose this one. They're going to lose this one
They can lose
because you
it.
know what? Just about everything they've done for decades, they're on the losing side.
That's right. That's right. Because this is serious funds. I mean, what was it recently was what 140 million. That's just pocket change, but that's just the first step.
Yeah, that's the warning. That's the warning.
Exactly. Hey, it's going to be more than that. 6% of global revenue for X. That's some serious fine, and that's their plan essentially, to force these internet companies to comply with their idea of what is permissible speech. And we know what their ideas of permissible
Well,
speech.
well, George, I mean, you could make the argument is that the United States, because it is the owner, proprietor of these massive platforms, I could see that they would take the position, well, we'll decide what global norms are. But the Europeans they don't have any of these assets, okay?
No,
It's
no,
not theirs,
no,
okay? And so
no.
they want to control the assets of others,
Yes,
okay? You know, that is just It's just plain bonkers,
Well,
okay?
that's
I mean,
you're
I,
absolutely yeah.
I mean, if it was the U.S. government and the Supreme Court, and it was Musk, and it was Zuckerberg, and I can understand that kind of battle. I can, okay? But you have these people that have none of these assets. Why don't they have them? That's an interesting.
That's a
Why
very
don't they have a Google? Why
that's
don't they
right. But
have X? Why don't they have Facebook?
that's it, and that's the thing that the EU is basically parasitical. Oh, we're going to regulate. We're going to do this, that, and the other. We're going to make you jump through hoops. But you don't have your own platforms. You don't have your own social media companies. So all you do is to batten on to others' work and fine them, regulate them, bully them, coerce them. But you don't have anything of your own. I mean, so and same, not just the American companies. I mean, they've gone after Telegram, which is not an American company. So, even they, the Europeans, I can't think of where's the European, whatever,
Whatever.
yeah,
I mean, and not in any category that I can
right,
think. I could be wrong, but
right,
name a leading social media company. No. They have, they have like Facebook France, I guess, and they have X Germany or whatever. But yeah, I mean, parasitic. That George got the word. Okay, they want to latch on to somebody else, and then to
right.
try to determine with empty. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, all these legal claims it's just blowing in the wind to me. It's like,
Right.
okay, whatever you want to do.
Right.
But they're going to hurt themselves
They are.
because
And if they,
at the end of the day, these platforms they will leave. They will leave
right, right.
if it's impossible for them to operate. And then where will Europe be?
Yeah, right. No, I think that's right. And if Europe, and with all them fighting words, we're going to hit back, well, then the Americans are going to hit you some more. If you decide, oh, we'll fine Musk some more, hit him with a bigger fine, then I think I mean, so far this is relatively restrained from the Americans. This is a former European Commissioner, not the current one. And all it is, you can't enter the United States, but they could start hitting current European commissioners, current European politicians, and could be more serious than just you can't enter the United States. So if the Europeans want to escalate, the Americans can absolutely escalate and hit the Europeans.
Because it's about money.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Hate.
yeah.
Who came up with hate aid? It's like aiding hate. Well, what's going on with that? What's going on with that? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Hate.
Essentially, I think they hate speech.
That's right.
That's what
That's right.
that's what it should be called, speech hate
That's right. What was
or
the
hating speech.
one of the tweets that I think I was reading? Didn't they say, "Oh, this he was helping the victims of online digital hate"? Who are these victims? Did they actually ask for your help? Oh, please help me. People are saying mean things about me, and I can't take all these people saying mean things about me. Well, if you really don't like mean things, there's something you can do on Twitter. You can block people who are, that's it. You have the power to block
Or
anyone that you don't like.
or just sit down, calm down, and get off of Facebook, get off of Twitter, to get off of it.
Right,
Okay?
right.
Get a dog. All right?
Yeah. Lots and
Everybody's
lots,
happy then.
lots. You're right. There's lots and lots of things to do in life other
Yeah.
than,
I hear
spend your life
scrapbooking.
on Twitter.
Scrapbooking is making a comeback. Okay. So, yeah, if you can't deal with the harsh realities of the world, are things more harsh now than they were a century ago or No, it's basically always harsh.
Yeah.
It's basically that's the norm. Okay. And the human race, for better or worse, had made it through. We'll make it through this one too.
Right.
Okay. You
Right.
know, look at the founding fathers of the United States. Okay, they didn't have the internet, but they had pamphlets.
Got
Now go
pamphlets,
back
and they
and
people
read
said,
what
and
that was nasty stuff. I mean, that caused duels. People died. Okay, it was really nasty, and it was full of hate, and it was full of lies because that's called political speech.
yeah, you're absolutely
Okay,
right.
these people have not detected something new in the world. No, they haven't.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And then when you think of the Russians, in the era of Lenin and all the revolutionaries, they said mean things about each other. I mean, those were nasty. The way they would describe one another as complete idiots and ignoramuses, and even worse. So yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. There's nothing new about other people saying mean things about you. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
just have to live with it. Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely. Okay. Well, I didn't expect this, George. What a wonderful gift it was. Thank you. This is George's Christmas gift to me this
Christmas
year.
gift, exactly. A
Okay.
Christmas gift for gagglers. So everybody
Yeah,
can.
because I had to go through the shopping and going to the shopping mall and everything. It was like a really trying day for me because I don't like those. I'm just not into that kind of stuff. But you have to get along to go along. So, and then I thought, okay, what is George going to say? And then, oh, made my day. Okay. The problem is not enough people are sanctioned, and I want some bite to those sanctions.
I
And
thought that.
I think our goal for the new year is that Emmanuel Macron should be sanctioned. Okay. No bank accounts. No fly list. No, oh, that's definitely no fly list. Okay.
It's just so funny when you said that because it's the kind of thing Trump might do. It's
Yeah, I
like
know.
I've had it. He sends out a truth. So henceforth, Emmanuel Macron is banned from entering the
And
United
then
States.
and then we have Witkoff comes back to Moscow and Putin says to Witkoff, maybe talk to the president, get Macron off the list, we can do this privately, you don't have to make a big deal. The Russians will come and help Macron, okay?
Yes, yes.
I mean, with all these characters here, we have just such an amazing mixture for a wonderful sitcom. Well, I don't know if
Yes.
it'd be a drama for sure.
No, you're
But a
absolutely.
sitcom, we would have to work on it because these people are so humorless. They were
No, that's true,
humorless.
but there could be a sitcom because I can see, let's say, if Macron were banned by Trump, that next time Putin and Trump have a phone conversation, we'll have the readout, and Putin raised the subject of the ban of Macron and wondered whether maybe something can be worked out, and President Trump promised to take this into consideration.
Actually, um, uh, it's being reported in the press that Russia may have a 20 point plan to get Macron off the sanction list. Okay, but the points are being negotiated right now. And of course, Zelensky will want to chime in to add his points, okay, or steal points, okay.
Yeah.
He'll end up with 14 points. He'll steal, 6
Yes.
points from someone. That's his
Yes.
nature,
Yeah.
okay. But anyway, what goes around comes around. You want to play the sanction game? There's a lot of players out there, okay. Why don't you just? I don't like sanctions,
The
okay.
sanctions, no, they're absolutely.
It really gives, at the end of the day, it doesn't change the conversation. It doesn't change the politics, and it doesn't resolve much.
No, sanctions well, I mean, they're inherently bad because they're a punishment without any kind of a legal process. So you're
Yeah.
going to get
No,
hit really
right.
without your being able to mount any kind of a defense. So in the case of Jacques Baud, he was just punished. Where did he have a legal proceeding? I mean, was he able to present arguments on his behalf? No. I mean, so that's the point about sanctions. They're just hitting you, punishing you, and you don't have any means of
I may be
defending
wrong.
yourself.
I want to be careful. I may be wrong about this, but I think he found out through media.
I think so too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, this is Christmas Eve. Who else is burning the midnight oil here? Okay. It's been a really interesting year. Doesn't mean we're done. No, no, no,
I got
not
a
done.
few more days. Yep.
Few more days.
Yeah.
But very, very Merry Christmas to you, George. Okay. I'm
Merry
sure
Christmas to you,
Budapest is
Peter.
very beautiful right now. I sometimes think Budapest is more beautiful in the winter, my kind of taste. Okay. But really nice. So. And I want to thank all of our viewers for watching us here at the Gaggle. We're a trusted we're a flag
Flag. We're flag. Trusted flaggers.
trusted flaggers. I
Yes.
like that. Works. It
That's right.
works.
We do a lot of flagging, and we're trusted while we do our
Okay.
flagging.
Okay. The reason why I say this, we're gonna have to get this down. I'm saying this because we're a trusted flagger. Okay.
Exactly. That's right.
You can work that
That's right. We're
into our
trusted
shtick.
flaggers. Exactly. Trusted flaggers. And now Buddy chimes in. Yeah, I've been flagging, for years and years, and no one trusts me. And so, buddy, yes, we do trust you, and you're a trusted flagger. Yeah, I've been flagging the tip jar, and apparently, no one is seeing the flags. The flags,
Well, they are kind of short.
visible. He's a little, yeah, he's a little on the low side, so they can't see the flag. But Buddy's been flagging the tip jar, and he feels that there's not enough trust going on. There's a trust deficit, as he likes to put it. There's a trust deficit. So, in the spirit of Christmas, anything that you have lying around, not using it right now, into the tip jar. We're very grateful for all of your help, friendship, and support over the past year, of course. And you remember, if you like the gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye bye.